Hello and welcome to Talk Tuesday. We love Talk Tuesday because it's a day that we get to talk about a topic that supports all of us in the growth. This is sponsored by the Greatest You Academy. I'm one of your co-founders, Mia Sines. The other one is Lori Montry, and she should be joining us at some point. So today's topic is Empath Mystics, Healers, Coaches. Understanding the specific magic of who you are. So as we get into that, it goes deeper into who are you, right? Who are you? And so most people say, wow, I'm an empath and I feel extra. So you'll find and discover that many empaths are also healers, coaches, teachers, leaders, etc. Also find that some empaths are stuck in a path, and we'll talk about that and how to get out of that and understanding. So as an empath, and let's look at this in the framework of love, okay? Like self-love. Since I talk and I'm a love teacher, it's all about how we can come to our highest state of being. And you have to recognize your worth and understand that you are inherently valuable and deserving of love and respect. These are things that I'm using my notes for, and then we'll go back to the talk. And so you prioritize your self-care because that's really important. You set healthy boundaries. This is also out of the book that's coming out next month called The Summer of Self-Love. We have an empath section in there. You practice self-compassion. You release guilt in people from being people pleasers and tendencies. You need to surround yourself with supportive people, people that are like you, individuals who are trying to excel, and seek professional support if needed. So what does, and I just came from an interview where I was interviewed on being an empath and a healer and the work. So empaths are beautiful beings, just like you and I, who are, every human has a soul. So we're actually a hybrid of a spiritual soul experience. And where do you want to take it? So as an empath, some people haven't grown to this place. So let's talk about it. Empaths, why are we so gifted? Because we have had chaos and trauma in our life. With me here and listen. So chaos and trauma in our life produces something that is called hypersensitivity. We're extremely aware of things around us. Why? Because we don't want to get in trouble. That is actually a gift. But when you learn to heal the aspects of the trauma part, so trauma, and those of you who have been with me a long time know this, trauma produces drama until it doesn't. And that's because our body, our subconscious, so our body, mind, and spirit, we have a body which houses all of our trauma in our body. We have memory in our body. In our mind, we have our mental capacity, and we also have our emotions are in there. And on our spiritual side, you know what that is. That's elevating you and connecting to your spiritual awareness. So when you bring them all together, that's how an empath, healer, coach, teacher, etc., gets to excel at being who they are. So it's about working on your emotional intelligence as an empath, as a healer, as anyone specific working with others. Why? Because we get to a point where if we don't do this, we cannot communicate on an elevated way. We get triggered, we have trauma, we get drawn to it. So working on your emotions is the first place, which is healing also the trauma in your body. So see, they're all interconnected. And when we do this, guess what the gift is for you? The gift is you get to be at a higher elevation, a human aspect that you want to be. You're connecting your body, mind with your spirit. And in that space, you rise and rise and rise and rise. So understanding as an empath, as a healer, as a coach, as a teacher, as whatever you are, as a creator, right, a manifester, to get to these places without having the lag time, or why does it happen every so often and I can't have a healing all the time, or why am I struggling? Our human emotions are what have us trapped. So instead of thinking that you have this trauma and drama and crap, and that maybe you are less than, because we tell ourselves off all the time, instead of that, creating a space with yourself where it's okay that this has happened. You now get to, did you hear me? You now get to move through and into a place that supports you. And what does that look like? That looks like an up-levelization of who you've been. What would an up-levelization look like? It would look like a place where you're not triggered by people. You know how to communicate with them so that you can not only have your boundaries, but your boundaries aren't brick walls. They actually become a state of being of who you are. Just like if somebody looks at you, they understand, they can feel the energy. I'm not going to go on to that topic because that's not where this person and I will get to. So understanding who you are and how you operate is the most important thing. And so with all of that, being that up-leveled of understanding that as you look at your emotional state of being, this is the growth, this is the expansion of you. And so in that beautiful place of expansion, as you look at your emotions, as you go through and heal your emotional state, then you get to release the trauma that is in your body. Now, some people say, well, how do you know that there's trauma in my body, Mia? Well, long before me, there are older, yay, they're older than me. I'm not going to be the oldest. There have been people like Gabor Mate and others who talk about trauma being trapped in our body. So there can be experiences where you are, say, I had an experience a couple years back and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that that was still there. I can't even tell you what the experience was, except for that I was in my house near the kitchen. We have a open kitchen, great room floor plan. And one of my sons said something at a very high-pitched or loud voice. And it upset me so much that my body actually ached. My body ached and I hurt for the first time. And I was like, wow, if healing's like that, I don't want to experience that. And then I realized I have this beautiful ability to recognize what I want to accept in my own beautiful body and what I don't want to accept. So having that awareness that is connected to our emotions from past trauma. And of course, this brings us back to the empath, right? Because we are hypersensitive from the trauma that we suffered when we were younger. So I was able to then move that out and start to move other things out of my body. One is that I found is the desire. The moment we have a desire to take action on something is that creative explosion. It's like an atom going, pew. We all know what atoms do when they blow up. It's not quite like that, but it's that, it's our synapses, it's our brain chemistry coming together, understanding, wow, there's a different pathway. And so for me, just because of the work that I've been doing on myself and that Lori and I teach here in the Academy, it's about removing all those old pathways. Now, it's not about sitting there going, okay, so I don't feel it, but I remember there was something lodged in there. You can do that. But what you need to do is work on your emotional state of being, and it will guide you, right? It will guide you because you are that magnificent to where you need to heal. And healing can look like people being in a regular conversation. I have healings popping out all over because I have awarenesses that are coming up. And the awarenesses are from my developed emotional state of being. This is why we call it emotional intelligence. And so when I make an awareness and it goes boink in my system, I'm like, I'm seeing a new light. That is what I also call a healing, because it's shifting or making a change on such a powerful level that I will never be the same person I was the moment before. And I will never repeat whatever it is that shift created in me. And so, pow, we're going to have a lot of pows today because it's really that brilliant within the system within you. So whether you are an empath and now you understand that the hyperness, the hypersensitivity, the alertness, always on looking how to stop things, or being a good child, being a good person so that you don't get in trouble, that is what created you as an empath. And you can take that beautiful ability, heal it, and up-level yourself to a beautiful spiritual being who can support and heal. So this is one thing. I've been a coach of coaches for a long time. And when Lori and I came together to create The Greatest You, our goal was to support everyone in the entire world. Okay, we have a great big goal, but also we love and nurture those of you who are in our field, who are empaths, who are healers, who are coaches, who are creators, who are people who are starting new businesses. Why? Because with the healing of the emotional intelligence work, you allow your spiritual graces to come in and the awarenesses of your life around you. And your life literally does become different. Now, with that, I'm going to share with you Lori Montree. Hello, Lori.
Beautiful ladies. Thank you for being patient with me. I was wrapping up with someone and you're in that space with them and they're and you're like, okay, we're done. Right? You can't run away from that beautiful space. I really appreciate you being patient with me. Before I have a few comments, I was writing down and I was like, yes, brilliant. But I have a book, Mia. I don't know if you're familiar with this book. It's the highly sensitive person, and it's helped so many of my clients really take it from, we tend to sometimes we have these things in our life that feel kind of hard to manage, right? Like, oh, I'm so sensitive. My emotions kind of take me out sometimes, or I find it hard to stay connected with myself when I'm with other people, particularly certain types of people or in certain situations. And a lot of the work that we've done with people is helping them see this as their superpower, their super strength. And how do we, it's like a superhero cape. When we know how to use it and when we know how to work with ourselves, we use it for the most incredible things, to create an incredible life for us and also to touch the others that we care so deeply about. That's the nature of being empathic, is that caring, beautiful. So how do we make that into our superpower? And I really love the book for its ideas on that, really embracing it. And so and managing, right, being aware and staying within capacity, which is something that we work on a lot, because you can't be at your greatest self if you're pushing yourself beyond capacity. And there are so many things that we can do to stay within capacity that are not difficult. It's not, you don't have to go off and be by yourself for 5 days at a time in order to stay in capacity, right? That's wonderful when we can do that. And yes, sometimes that's exactly what we need, but there's a lot more that we can do to stay in capacity and to really embrace this aspect of us and use it as our superpower. So I just wanted to mention that, the information you were sharing about trauma. How do we know that we may have trauma in our background, I think a lot of people say, well, that wasn't such a big thing, compared to, other people's experience. I don't, it's almost like I don't have the right for this to be a traumatic experience in my life, right? Like there's so much other worse. And what me and I always say to these people is just like, well, if you had a broken leg, you wouldn't not go to the doctor because you knew someone that had two broken legs or a broken leg and a broken arm, right? Well, they had it worse. So, you know, of course, we need to look at ourselves and understand that, you know, for us, trauma is nothing more than something that overwhelmed the individual's nervous system at the time that it happened. So for each one of us, it's an entirely different experience. It does not have to be something that is living in a war zone or a natural disaster or something like that. But, you know, it's very, very, sometimes can be very hard to know if we're living with stuck trauma in the body. And Mia mentioned the trigger that she had, like that visceral experience where she knew something was going on, something she had been triggered in some way. And that's a really good indication. And that does happen for a lot of people, but it can be so subtle. And it can also be just our normal life because we've gotten so used to it. We don't know any different, right? We just become normalized to our situation. But it's also things like not having a lot of capacity. When we don't have the capacity to do life, and I'm not talking about pushing yourself, you know, and doing the grind every day. But when you feel like you should have more capacity, but you don't, that's a good indication that there may be some trauma causing a dysregulated nervous system. And I would even say, you know, not living a life that feels really purposeful and fulfilling to you, because trauma is one of the things that really steals our ability to create that. Pains in the body, right? Physical pains, autoimmune disease, cancers, feeling insecure, never really feeling that sense of safety in the world and what's going to happen, and knowing that you're safe and protected. Relationship struggles, inability to concentrate. I can't tell you how many people that we worked with that thought they had ADHD, been medicated for years, and really what was going on was their nervous system was activated and unable to be regulated. But once we got their nervous system regulated, they didn't have ADHD at all. Or there's many people who believe that ADHD is actually nervous system deregulation more than anything else. It's being on constant alert, needing to, what was that noise? What was that? What's going on? Because I don't feel safe inside. So I have to be in that hyper vigilant kind of state. So whether it is or not, we know that a lot of people have been able to completely end their medication and get rid of the symptoms just by regulating their nervous system. Yeah, that concentration, and where you just can't be, right? Where you just can't be. I remember thinking and hearing from a lot of people, but I just can't meditate. I'm just not a meditator. That's just not me, right? And it was really because I just couldn't be, because my system was always kind of on high alert, that relaxation phase didn't feel safe. And so all of these and many, many more are indications that we could have something, that energy of the trauma of the experience that we couldn't process at the time, stuck in the body. Mia mentioned Gabor Mate, and I think that his easy read is when the body says no. And that is his own experience of understanding the connection through his patients, understanding the connection between trauma and the state of your nervous system and disease and illnesses of the body. So these are some things that we can explore and understand a little bit better, so that we can see ourselves, our highly sensitive selves, our empathic selves, as superheroes, and being able to use these beautiful skills out in the world, creating a fulfilling life for ourselves and being of service to others.
You know, Lori, when somebody first shared with me that being an empath was, they didn't say it as sweetly as we do, but that being an empath was an offshoot of trauma, I got mad. And so many of you might be mad at first when you heard me say that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't say that to get you mad. I said it so that your awareness, you deserve awareness. And your awareness allows you to choose. See, you have a choice in everything in life, but nobody taught us how to have our free will, how to choose, how to create things. So you have a choice to be this fabulous empath, but even better than you've been, because getting your emotional system in place so that you can operate on a level. And the fact that Lori brought up the ADHD and nervous system dysregulation is really important to understand. There's so many things that we don't know that we think we know until we actually know them.
Mm.
So we don't know what we don't know until we know them. And so understanding that our upbringing has created us into a specific place, it's okay. There's no right, wrong, good, bad. There's absolutely no shame or judgment. Everybody has something that's could have improvement. So that's a beautiful place to know that you are still an incredible human soul being, right? Being an empath. And you can take that level, whether you're an empath who's taken it to a healer, to a coach, to a teacher, whatever, you can take your levels super high where you want to be, because generally people who understand that they're empaths are also on a spiritual path too. And so whatever has created that hypervigilance in you, you know, that has allowed us to become empathic, it can be healed and removed in a very easy space. Well,
Yeah,
it takes work, but you know,
it does.
it's about self-focus. It's not a magic drop of perfume that all of a sudden you're in a different realm. You know, let's be real here. We have to look at our stuff and we have to do the work, and understanding our gifts, even as an empath, right? It's a beautiful expansion of awareness that leads us to our other gifts. You didn't have your empathic ability, your sense of alertness, your inquisition or your inquiring on things, you wouldn't be accelerating in life looking for what I think most people look for. Where's the highest state that I can grow into? And or how spiritual people, how can I be spiritual and human and operate on that beautiful level?
Wow. Yes, exactly. It's about claiming, right? That greater, greater, and greater and greater version of ourselves. And we never stop having another greater self available to us. And so, getting comfortable with the process of moving into that greater version is so important, because otherwise we're stagnant, and none of us were meant to be stagnant. We were not created to stay in one place. You'd said that our early experiences, create our existence. And really that shows us how powerful we are, because we have a certain perception that's based on our early experiences. It's like wearing a pair of glasses, right? It's your early experiences gave you a certain pair of glasses through which you see yourself, the world, other people, and you create from that perception. Your perception creates everything. So knowing that and seeing that, you can see that so far in your life, your perception has created the life that you're living now. And that means you are an incredibly powerful person. By altering your perception, you alter your whole life. Mia said, changing ourselves from that reactionary person where life comes in, I deal with life the best I can as it comes at me, right? That's a reactionary existence. And then people, we can excel and we can get really good at dealing with whatever it is that comes in, right? Or we can create the life that we want and stop having to be reactionary. Life can get okay over here with enough tools and enough management, but wouldn't you rather just create the life and the existence that you want? It's possible when you put on the glasses that allow you to see the world from that way. What does it take, Mia, to put on those glasses? It's the stuff we teach in the academy, right?
And self-dedication.
Yeah.
The value that you want to create something or you want to excel. Here's something that surprised me recently. Somebody did a video on on a sculpture that was being cut out of wood. And the words are what actually moved me. And I'll never be the same again. But also, I'm grateful because I know I'm at that top level of the people. And here it is. 10% of the population will have an idea of a creation or to change their life. 10% of those people will actually step into what it's like to do something that they want to do. And 10% of those people are the ones that go further on, that take the steps and go. So what does that tell you? That tells you we keep getting stopped. This entire planet we know would look different if everyone looked at their stuff and said, I want something different.
Yeah, something better. Yeah.
Look like, right?
Yeah.
And if we were all operating on that level, it would be incredible. If 50% of the population were operating on that level and actually doing that, that would be a magnificent change. So
Yeah.
the fact that only 10% of 10% of 10% will accomplish their goals is too low. We're that amazing of a species that we should take our beautiful human existence and our soul that's inside of us and live the way we're supposed to live. And that is on top of the world, in the sense that as creators, we can heal the stuff that is stopping us. We can open up to emotional intelligence and have conversations with other people that are clear and concise or deep or shallow, but we know that there's no triggering going on. We know that we are in a place of emotional or mental fortitude, right? And what does that mean? That means you've got your stuff going on. I had a doctor when I was doing cancer stuff last year said, wow, you have amazing mental fortitude. And I think it was during my biopsies 3 years ago. And I said, thank you. I teach that. So what do you want to do, be, and have in your life? Life is ticking along, and this isn't to scare anyone. This is like, we are cheering you on to create what you want. You've got to get past your fears. You have to understand your emotional stuff. And if you need a pathway, we definitely are way showers here, and we can support you. But the most important thing that we want is for humanity to live at the level that they can live at when they understand what that level is.
Yes, exactly. And you just, really gave such a beautiful understanding of the mission of the greatest you, and why we came together was because if we can even just convince people that being the greatest version of themselves is possible, then the world already starts to change. And I would say, I don't know what your thought is, but the people who are showing up here, they made time in their life to tune in, to watch the replay, because we get, most of our people are on the replay. So we see you guys, we know that you're out there, and we appreciate you. But and especially the ones that showed up live, like that.
You guys that are here.
Yeah, that shows, doesn't it? You're already in that 10%. And so, be the person who goes to the next level with that, who takes the action, who says, all right, I'm open to these ideas. I'm starting to believe in my ability to become the greatest version of myself, the next greatest version of myself, and start to create from that place. Take the action now. You're here, you're listening, you're understanding that it's possible. What's your next right step to step into that and to really own it? That's what I want to ask you. And I want to, and we're always available to answer questions, posting in the Facebook, and really dive into this question. It's wonderful that you're here, but be part of the next 10% that actually take the action to say, what is stopping you? What do you need in order to take that next step? Because that's the place where something can happen, right? And and as Mia said, the Academy is all about helping you achieve that, teaching you who you, not teaching you, opening you up to who you really are, helping your nervous system. We have in the academy, we go into past traumas and the wisdom of your body, helping you release them through the powerful practice of somatic experiencing. We walk you through how to change your thoughts to be in alignment with the person that you want to be, getting rid of those old limiting beliefs that have been stopping you, that you've been operating from, changing the glasses, emotional resilience, looking at your health and well-being, your relationships. And then we share with you the Dream, Believe, Create process. That's literally a process, a step-by-step. Step 1 towards your dreams, step 2 towards your dreams, step 3 towards making it happen. So this is something that, you know, we invite you all to take a look at and to try on. thegreatestyou.com is where you can see more specifics, but just know
The greatestyouacademy.com.
Yes, thank you. thegreatestyouacademy.com. Just know that this is absolutely doable for you and everybody else. So let's be like the people in the video that moved you so much, man. Maybe we should post that if we could find it, and let other people enjoy it.
It's in the Academy group on Facebook. We have a Facebook group there. I'll grab it, and it's also on my page.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll find it and repost it, because it's really powerful. I've lived this kind of a life for about 15 years, and the difference between how I was before and how I am now is completely different.
Yeah.
I wasn't operating with a full plate, more or less. I did have a brain injury from trauma from 9/11. The frontal lobe of my brain burnt out, and so I couldn't really be the woman that I had been. And still, when you think about that, I had created 18 businesses all across the board, anything that would excite me. I had my first one when I was in nursing school was a frozen food company that we had in all of our stores in LA and also in Trader Joe's. They were talking to us about buying that, our business, for their stuff, where they just changed the name to, like, even though it wasn't Hispanic food, it was New Orleans. It was, you know, like Senor Jose or whatever, you know, for Trader Joe's. And so many things. I had a medical supply company. I had clothing companies. I had an event company. So what did that teach me about life? It taught me that I could create, but I was not founded within my own self or grounded. And my trauma would come up, and I wasn't really happy. So I would sell my business and I would go to something new. Guess what? When I changed, I created my company that now Lori and I brought our companies together. And that's been 15 years. I have never had a company or a mission this long in my life. Granted, my love always, but this is the stuff that has changed lives, not just my life, but the lives of thousands of people. So if you want to live a different life or see what that could be like, to be, when I say fully on fire, I'm not talking about running around with pants burning. I'm talking about creation of, like, going out excitedly to see your friends, having dinners, creating businesses, that kind of life, whatever it is that excites you, whether you want to get on the lake and start to go out in your kayak, or whether you want to take your bike up to some massive hills in Yellowstone or something, wherever you want to go, you can,
or develop a beautiful love connection, or, you know, build an empire or whatever. One thing, you know, calling Mia on the phone is like, you know, hey Mia, how's it going? Oh my gosh, you'll never guess what, this is the best day ever because of this and this. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I know, you know, that's what life is, right? We can't define for any one of us what it, you know, I can't define for you what it would look like to live in that space. But it's joy, it's peace, it's fulfillment. And that's what we, you know, really want for you. Whatever your authentic, beautiful, greatest self says, it's for you. It is for you, and you can create it. We know that because not only have we created it for our lives, but we're watching people all day long, every day, do the same for themselves.
And it's not like we had it easy. The first 45 years of my life, I was on death's door, leaving, literally. And I heard God say on my birthday when I turned 45, "You've been unhappy your whole life. What would it be like to be happy?" And that's,
Change the glasses.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
change your
pathway
glasses.
to the life that I live today. I wasn't afraid. I knew that whatever was beyond where I existed was far better than what I had. And we create, and then we grow through that glass ceiling and we create again. And so it's beautiful. I just
Yeah.
want you to understand that whatever fears, trauma, or joys and blessings you have, they can be accelerated by you understanding you. That's the most
Yeah.
precious gift we can gift you, is the awareness that through your emotional intelligence development comes your deep love, your spiritual graces, the healing of your body, all of it. Why? Because your trauma isn't still keeping you down. And even those who have had beautiful childhoods. I'm married to a man who had a wonderful childhood, but he did have his own trauma. He had one thing that was a trauma in his life, and it followed him forever until it didn't. So it doesn't matter if you had abusive parents or loving parents. Things are traumatic for human beings. And so whatever it is, get it healed, get on your way, and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I look forward to hearing in the Facebook group what some of these ideas are for what is, calling to you guys. That's the funnest thing for me, at least, to see what is calling you. So I would love for you to post that in the Facebook group.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in another Talk Tuesday. And when this goes out on the replay, if you have questions, please feel free to write back and let us know. I'll also put the calendar link on there if you'd like to set a time to talk. Have a beautiful day.
Bye, guys.